to the morning show here on Arise News.
Before taking up his appointment with the Jonathan administration, Dr. Doyin Okupe, a medical doctor by training, was a spokesman for former President Olusegun Obasanjo and an ex-governorship aspirant in his state, Ogun State, in southwest Nigeria. He's here to speak about his defection from the main opposition People's Democratic Party, what to expect in the run-up to the 2019 elections, and other issues within the Nigerian polity. Dr. Okupe, you are welcome to the morning show.
Good morning,
it's glad to be here. How are you?
Thank you for joining us.
Well,
what's the name?
My name is Oji.
Oji.
Yes, Oji as Ojinaka.
As in Ojinika. Ojinika. I'm Nigerian, yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Doctor, straight to business.
Yes, sir.
You've been hearing us saying you defected.
I'm sure.
You defected from the PDP to another party.
No,
Where are you now? Why did you leave the PDP?
I did not defect, Ruben.
But you left the PDP.
I left. That's a good, that's a better terminology.
Okay.
No, but the
I
defection
left
is,
before defection became very popular
Fashionable.
and fashionable. I left because, you know, we were sort of really losing relevance in the party. And the authority of the party shifted. There was a lot of confusion. It was not really very clear what the PDP at that time, you know, really stood for anymore. And so I just felt that God has been very kind to me. I mean, like you have introduced me just now, I've been spokesperson to 2 presidents. I've had a good time and a good run. Maybe 38 years in this game. And I just felt maybe I should just go back home and play local politics until, that's why I left. So when I left, I did not have any further intention of really playing any major national politics. I wanted to really see if I could become like a coach, you know, a life coach, somebody who could use the totality of my experience, exposure, and knowledge that I've garnered from politics and try to see if we could get a way to bring younger people up so that they can achieve what we failed to achieve. I had very high, I came into politics deliberately. I had an admission into the Royal College of Surgeons in Edinburgh, and I paid school fees, I've paid everything. I was working in St. Nicholas Hospital, I was just about to, it was my last day, and something inside me just revolted that, look, this is not what I want to be, you know. And the next day, I went to Saleko, somewhere in Lagos Island, and I said, where does the MPN meet here? And they showed me. The following Tuesday, I was in that location, and that was my journey into politics. I became the vice chairman of that ward. Later, I became the secretary of the MPN in Ikoyi. Then I ran for Federal House of Rep. I came into this
but
thing.
you still did medicine on the side with your colleague, Dr. Shea Roberts.
Well, at the beginning, but by 1991, 92, I just left my partners. I said, you know, I'm in this full time.
I see. Okay. Now, how do you see the political horizon now?
Not very encouraging. If you permit me to use very strong words, almost bastardized. There are a lot of charlatans. Let me give you a very sad run-up. A very close young relation of mine came to my office. That was when I was with Jonathan, and said, Uncle, his father told me that he was looking for a job. But when he came to me, he spoke something else. He said he would like to go into politics. I said, that's not what your daddy said. He said, yes, but he said, I need to make some money quickly, then I come back, and then I decide what to do. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, it's not your own type of politics. So he said, I just want to use it so I can gather some money quickly. So look at that concept. You know, it's so different from what we had. You know, when I came into politics, I did not think about making money. It was just, I just felt that I wanted to be one of those who would change, you know, the way things were going in the country. You understand? And for me, fortunately or unfortunately, I actually had 2 great opportunities. I came, just as I envisioned it. You know, Providence and God allowed me to actually get not into the corridors of power. I got into the bedroom of power, and yet I was not able to achieve what I had conceived. I mean, by now I would have been a retired professor of surgery, you know, but that's not what I wanted to really be. I wanted to be somebody who would have worked with other people and made it possible that Nigeria will not be where it is today. Where Nigeria is today is sad, it's undignifying, it is pathetic.
Where are you now?
The country.
Where are you now? You are in a court party.
Yes.
Are you likely to defect to the PDP? Now that the PDP seems to be...
Ruben, you get off my back. You keep using the word defect. This is what is going on. This is what is going on. There is an emerging consensus in the country that because of the desperate situation in the country today, the way the country is going down, the abysmally low performance of the executive, the present executive, the poor state of the economy, and the terrible division in the country that we are such that we have not seen before. People are coming together, irrespective of their party affiliations and all that, and saying, look, we've got to get it right in 2019. I am in that movement, and as of today, though I'm in accord, but the Southwest membership or caucus of the Accord Party, of which I'm a leader, or I'm the leader, we have taken a decision, except for one or two, let me just say except for your state, we have decided that we are going to join the Conference of United Political Parties, which is cooperating with PDP to make sure that, and the only, from what I heard, and from what the discussion I had with Doyin Lola, he told me, he said, listen, doctor, our only objective is to ensure that we pick a candidate as president, and every other person, every other political platforms and tendencies in the country unite behind that person to remove the incumbent.
Who is that candidate likely to be? There's a long list in the PDP.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to say, but I can say very, very reassuringly and without any fear of equivocation whatsoever, that some of us, because of the length of time you spend in this game, I just told you, in a couple of years, maybe one or two, this will be my 40th year in politics. Yeah, I'm 66. I joined very, very early. And I have participated in maybe 3 or 4 presidential campaigns. I have been involved in the election of at least 2 presidents. So Yorubas, you will not know that. Yorubas say something, they say that when you are trying to fell a tree in the forest, that younger people may not exactly know where the tree will fall, but older people like us will experience, we can say that this tree is going to fall this way. I can tell you that in 2019, you can take it to the bank. The election will be between President Buhari on one side, Bukola Saraki, or Atiku, or Tambuwa.
Okay. So you have a shortlist, a PDP shortlist.
Very, very shortlist.
Of Atiku, Saraki,
and Tambuwa.
Okay. Can you assess those 3 likely candidates?
From where? From top to bottom of...
No, not necessarily.
Whatever you wish.
Well, I see Tambuwa as a young talk from the Northwest. People are clamoring for return of power to Northwest, and that if you really want to, defeat Buhari in an election, then you need to use somebody from the Northwest who can actually divide the votes. I don't see Tambuwa having that capacity to divide the votes, but he has the youthfulness, he has the education, he has the exposure and liberalism, and acceptability that, Nigerians can actually follow. There are 2 ways of... Ruben, I want to tell you.
Yes.
I have become an oracle in this business.
I'm all ears.
I'm telling you. There are 2 ways. There are 2 ways of becoming a Nigerian president.
Okay.
One way is for the candidate or a platform to be created which includes South-South, Southeast, Southwest, and Middle Belt. it does not matter what votes comes from the north. It doesn't matter.
Or from Kano.
From anywhere, not just it doesn't not Kano. From from the northeast or northwest, it doesn't really matter what votes come. If you have this coalition, the person will become president. The second one is you get northwest, northeast to come together, and in southern majority, either the southeast or the southwest, the person will be president. Those are the two equations that are applicable in Nigeria. And we have used it before. We used it, and it worked. So I'm not guessing or, confabulating. No, these are tested political theories and, it's not even theory.
Strategy.
Strategy, correct, that's the word. Okay? During Obasanjo's second term, you remember the entire Southwest followed him at that time, the East and then the Middle Belt. The North essentially vote for him. During Jonathan's first election, 2011. You go and look at the picture. I have the picture on my iPad, on my telephone. If you put Jonathan as blue, it was the entire of the South with the Middle Belt, with a small island in Osun State that voted for Buhari. The remaining part of the North voted for Buhari, but Jonathan won. So, but in 2019, Buhari did not get any substantial votes in the Southeast. In 2015, he didn't get any substantial votes in the Southeast. He didn't get any substantial votes in the South-South. But, he got votes, heavy votes from the Northwest, Northeast, and the Southwest, and some part of the Middle Belt. So these are, this is a strategy that cannot fail. So I was trying to analyze. So that's, that a candidate is unable to break the stranglehold of Buhari in the North does not mean he cannot defeat Buhari. It's a fallacy. So we now go to Atiku.
Yes.
Atiku, perhaps, of all the candidates that are vying, is perhaps the most ready, kind of. Okay. He's been preparing for a long time. I've worked with him before. Very serious-minded person and all that. But I don't think he's very, very, very... he's not as you would have expected, acceptable in the North as you would have expected another candidate to do. I even think Buhari may slightly do better, even in the Northeast, than Atiku. Okay. But like I said to you before, that in itself is not a problem, provided, if you are going to fail in the North, then you must not fail the coalition below.
But some analysts say that Atiku's biggest problem is the fact that he doesn't have the support of President Obasanjo. How much of a factor?
I have had that. And I'm a Christian. I'm sorry to bring this religion in. I'm a Christian. I only believe that God Almighty is the one that gives power. Okay. And that to restrict it to the support of one man, for me, I even count it as sin. I will not say so. Okay. Chief Obasanjo was my boss, like my political godfather, really speaking. But I also know that Obasanjo is extremely powerful across board. When I was going to contest for governorship of Ogun State, Obasanjo said no. He told my people, you people have not found a candidate yet. This is my candidate, and the candidate won. But at the same time, he didn't support Fayose, all right? And Fayose won. And he was the sitting president. So none of us is God. So I don't think that should deter Atiku of his followers. If God wants Atiku to be president, he will be president, with or without anybody's support. Okay. So we're talking generally speaking. So, like I said, Atiku is eminently qualified. He has been extremely, dutiful in terms of preparing for this. I believe he has a war chest with which he can prosecute this. If anybody does have, he has. Okay. So that is what he has going for him. Among all the three, my best is Bukola Saraki. Okay. Yeah, that's my very
With
best.
all his travails?
Wow.
Travails only make, a strong man stronger.
What do you see in him?
Good. If Bukola Saraki becomes president, he'll be the first person to have to come to that place with some measure of pedigree. In Nigeria, that doesn't seem to be a big deal. But if you want to make progress, people who have a good, rich background. When I say rich, I'm not talking about wealth. I'm talking about family values, etiquette, training, responsibility. All right? So those are the things that make pedigree. Bukola Saraki has pedigree.
Okay.
He comes from a family, he has a father that is respected across Nigeria, who has held his own, who has been, a major bridge builder in the country. He comes, his father was a man that had empathy.
Should he become president because of who his father was?
I have not finished. That's just one attribute I said. I said pedigree. I'm just on pedigree.
Yes. Okay.
2 is education. He's highly educated. Very, very well educated.
Very important.
And he's also extremely exposed, knowledgeable, and intrinsically intelligent and brilliant.
Okay.
For once, let us have a president that can stand with a Macron, and you're not afraid that God.
He might say something.
I have been fearful of presidents when I watch on television, that what is he going to say? But if a President Bukola Saraki is going to the UN or is going to speak on CNN, I will sleep. Because I know that he has a background like mine. He's been educated like me. He has an intellect that is above average. He has a composure that is, that you can stand with.
But isn't geopolitics against you?
I'll come back to that.
Yes.
Okay.
So
because it's from North Central.
Just wait, Ruben. I've told you the oracle is speaking.
Let us wait for
No longer the attack dog or the attack lion.
That was a temporary job.
Because you are known as the attack lion.
Okay.
Yeah,
now you have become the oracle.
I still retain the potentiality to attack.
Okay.
But I have those are Yoruba say that tabajagba ayogunja. The older you get, the less wars you want to fight.
Okay, so you've mentioned pedigree, you've
I've
mentioned
education, I've mentioned exposure, and all that. Now, performance.
Okay.
This is a guy, for once, in other places, you just don't come from the blues, drop from the sky like a parachute, with a parachute and say, I want to be president. That's not it. I mean, how many of us we have a 500 billion enterprise and just give it to a man who speaks English? That's all. Or who just says, I'm young. Nobody will do that. So you need, like everything else, Nigeria is an enterprise. It's an ongoing enterprise. So you need highly qualified, competent, cerebral, capable people to run this country. One of the problems we've had is that we've not had that since 1960. We have not really had strong men, well-bred, well-educated, with experience and who had been in the system, who had grown within the system. Saraki had been...
We had Obasanjo, we had President Jonathan, we had Gawan as head of state. Yeah. We had Babangida. Why would you just write all of them
I didn't write anybody off. I'm just saying that Bukola Saraki represents a new breed of leadership. Apart from all those that you have mentioned, is a new breed of leadership. Somebody who would have gone through the ranks. He had been a managing director of a conglomerate, all right? He'd been a governor.
Some people say he ran the banker ground.
Of course, that has been debunked. That's not true. That's Society Generale.
Yes,
the board or whatever went to court and said, the closure or the seizure of the license of that company was done in error. Okay. And they won. And they returned the license to them. They changed the name of the company, the bank, to Heritage Bank. And there's not a single depositor in Society Generale Bank alive today whose deposits had been lost, who had not been paid. So that is not correct. But that's not the subject. That's not the subject we're talking. Let me finish my argument.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, fine. So he's been a managing director of a company, all right? He became a governor, first-time governor, second-time governor, for which he performed very well. Then, while he was governor, leadership qualities emerge. Leaders are made. Do you understand my point? Amongst his peers, they decided that he will lead them. There must be something that all the governors saw, that he surrendered the leadership of their class.
The Governors Forum.
Yeah, Governors Forum. Became the chairman of the Governors Forum. He then went into Senate. He left the executive, went into the Senate, became a senator, and subsequently became the Senate president. So there's something...
Yeah, but some people want to impeach him now.
Well, those, it is what he had done or what he had become by his own power. It's not what people want to do that we're discussing. I mean, that's a joke. It's something that will never materialize. It's like a dream in the minds of a dog. Yoruba say that when a dog dreams, it stays inside the dream. One, he cannot communicate it. Two, he may not be able to effect his dream. So let's leave that matter. So I'm saying that there's something about leadership that exudes from this person.
Yes.
And since he became the chairman of the National Assembly, he has conducted his affairs, excellently well. This 8th Assembly had done better than any other National Assembly. And he, in particular, he had been under tremendous pressure of attack, trying to remove him and all that. Yet he has held his own. He's behaved like a man with steel, with strength.
Well, Doctor, let me ask you. Are you now the spokesman for Saraki's presidential campaign?
Because that's what it looks like right now.
Because you're already doing the spokesman's job for Bukola Saraki.
I have been spokesman for 2 presidents.
Okay, you are looking at a likely third one.
No. I think, I think I've had my beats.
Okay.
That is part of my history that is,
But I was saying that geography doesn't favor Saraki.
Yes. Yeah, no. But that is, in fact, I think geography favors him.
How?
Very good. I've just told you that there are 2 ways of becoming a Nigerian president. All right? You pick the Northwest, the Northeast, and a major ethnic group, or zone in the South, which Buhari already holds. All right? Okay. Buhari already holds that. So if you want to compete with Buhari, you don't go to his area of strength and start to battle. It doesn't make sense. There's nobody, I agree, that we say this on public television, that there's no Nigerian politician today that is alive, that is competing, that can severely damage the electorate reservoir of Buhari in the north. It's not possible. So there's no need to compete at that level. Go to where Buhari is weak.
But there are
Buhari is weak in the middle belt. All right, because in the last time, Buhari garnered 2 million votes in the middle belt, but this time around, Kwara is not going to vote for Buhari. He may have an even fight in Kogi. He will lose Niger. He will lose Benue. He will lose Plateau.
Kaduna.
He will lose no, middle belt. He will lose Plateau. So that is if Bukola Saraki emerges from the platform of the middle belt, all they need to do is to get the Southwest, Southeast to agree with them. Okay. And that's it. You run away with the ticket.
Well, from what you are saying, I guess that you are not impressed by President Buhari's performance.
Not at all.
During the campaign in 2015, you said that the man was unelectable.
Yes, I did.
And do you think
it has been proven?
Yes.
I mean, yesterday I went to my own...
Well, Garuba Shehu won't agree with you. Femi Adesina won't agree. Lai Mohammed won't agree.
Garuba Shehu is Ruben Abati and Doyin Okupe of 2013 and 2014. You know what we did? We had a job to do. We did our job well. These guys are doing their jobs. But that is not what, what we're discussing. The question is, does the principal, has he lived to the bidding? No. Fact. I sympathize before God and man. I have a lot of... people in this country misunderstand certain things. The fact that I criticize Buhari does not mean I have no respect for him. I respect him to the highest. And okay. I believe that in recent times, he is one of the figures that we ought to really to preserve as a national icon. Somebody with a fatherly figure. And he has that mien. All right? Some people rightly or wrongly believe that he's infallible, that he's incorruptible, and all that. Fine, no problem. Okay? But in terms of presidential delivery, he has no capacity. That's the truth. But he doesn't need that to be the father figure in Nigeria. All right? He is a good man. And, you know, I'm even saying, you know, Ruben, I have been ill before to the point of death, and God saved me, right? So when I see a man that spent 150 days in hospital in 1 year, and is still trudging on, I doff my heart for such a person. Because when I was sick, if you offered me the presidency of the world, I would drop it. So people who still can take that responsibility, even in spite of their own personal inconveniences and danger, I respect them. Just like you, I'm just like the late Radua. So, you know, but I'm just saying that the country needs a lot more than that.
Well, one more question from me. How do you assess the president's media team compared to what we did in our time?
Ruben, that's unfair. You know,
why not?
You are
I mean, you are
now you are the best.
You are the old man. You are the old man of the job. I mean, you've done 38 years.
I've just said it's unfair because
why?
You are on this show, I'm on this show. You want me to tell you that additional was better than me? It's not possible. I am the ultimate guru.
He is the oracle. Oh, God.
Anyway,
so much fun in this segment.
Thanks for coming to the morning show. I'm sure we'll invite you again.
I'm so happy to be here. I never knew you guys had a state going on here.
Yes, we do.
I would like
Senator
Bukola Saraki, now that you speak for him, to also come on this show.
I didn't say I speak for him. I didn't say I speak for him. You brought questions for which I answered you. I was not hiding my knowledge.
Well, right now I'm actually very impressed. I think that I would vote for him because of everything you've just said.
Oh, yes. You said you would vote for me earlier. Now you are shifting. You want to vote for someone else.
You were going to run. I'll vote for you instead. Thank you so much, sir. It's time now for a short break on the morning show. When we return, we'll have our in-house analyst, Emmanuel Efeni, join us with a review of the top stories on today's newspapers. Stay with us.